Yeah. Yes, I can hear you. Do you,
Hey, morning everyone. We'll wait for another 30 seconds for people to join in. So let's start, guys. Good morning, everyone, and welcome to today's session on Qlik Cloud, the one-stop shop for all your data needs. In today's session, we will see how organizations can benefit by adopting Qlik Cloud and they're redefining modern data strategy, correct? So now we see that there is a lot of emphasis on data integration, governance. So because now we see that a lot many organizations are driving AI strategies and they want to make sure data is trusted, correct? So I, Santosh, along with Sunil, will be hosting and the speaker for today's event. So I have more than 21 years of experience in technology. Currently, I'm leading the Center of Excellence for the Qlik at Exponentia.ai. I have spent more than a decade on a Qlik data product ecosystem, so quite well versed all other products along with Qlik platform. So with this, I would like to hand over Sunil for his introduction. Welcome, Sunil, and good morning.
Good morning, Santosh. Thanks for the introduction and great to join you today. So just a little bit about myself. So I've spent a similar amount of time in the industry, over 25 years now, worked for a number of enterprise software companies and startups as well. So I actually spent around a decade, about 10 years at Microsoft. I've spent a lot of time at various data management companies as well. I actually spent around 5 years at Informatica. And I joined Qlik about 5 years ago, we're actually coming up to 6 now, as part of an acquisition that Qlik made of a company called Attunity. And Attunity was really the company that became the foundation of Qlik's data platform. The last few years have been huge as far as acceleration around the data space. And what I'll do today is spend a little bit of time talking you through Qlik's strategy and platform and how that kind of aligns to some of the challenges that we're seeing in the industry.
Okay, thanks for the brief introduction, Sunil. So guys, we see that today's AI-driven kind of landscape, correct? So many organizations have paid hefty price for their misbehaving of AI solutions, correct? So we know that Air Canada incidents where have to pay for damages for their chatbot faulty answers. There was a case in NYC where AI chatbot was fined for providing falsy claims, correct? So with this, what has been is more evident is like there is a paramount importance for the reliability, fairness, and the compliance of the AI system, correct? So how this can be achieved? So that is something where Qlik Cloud can help you in this journey. So Qlik Cloud offers a unified platform for all your data needs, correct? Right from a data ingestion to AI-driven analytics. So having said that, it is also offers his all the tool set on a cloud as the plug and play ecosystem. So it can fit in your organization's landscape wherever you want it. So having said that, it's a unified platform, but still it offers a plug and play facility for all its tools which are available. Correct? So with that, I would like Sunil to kind of help us to understand how this can be done, how the solid data foundation and governance can be achieved through a Qlik Cloud capabilities. Correct? So over to you, Sunil. Everyone is watching you out to understand how we can help them in terms of achieving.
Right. Thank you, Santosh. Right. So let's just make sure we're sharing the slides. So hopefully, okay, brilliant. Thank you very much. So what I'm going to do today really is start off by giving you all a little bit of perspective on some of the challenges. We're all kind of aware of the huge kind of transformation that's kind of going through the industry, with AI really fundamentally kind of reshaping the way we all kind of work, within our personal lives, but also within business. So we're seeing probably a larger transformation than we saw with the internet. If you think about the impact the internet has had on all of our lives and the way we do business, e-commerce, AI is really going to be a much more fundamental shift, and the acceleration of AI is really kind of exponential as far as what we're seeing in the industry and with the investments that all of the tech companies are making. So with all of that, I mean, the main kind of challenge we're seeing, and actually, sorry, before I get into that, I just want to flash up a kind of disclaimer around this presentation. So I will be touching on a few roadmap items. So most of this is kind of things we're delivering in 2025 or have already delivered in 2025, but there are roadmap items for the second half of this year which I'll be touching on. So just the obligatory disclaimer slide before I continue. Okay, so with all of that kind of context around AI and the challenges, and I suppose the potential that AI brings, what we're seeing and what we're kind of seeing from comments from analysts as well as clients we speak to is they're really struggling with really realizing the value from a lot of their early AI projects. It's a lot more complex than they have realized, when they get into this. Some of this is around skills, but overall, the main fundamental issue is the ability to kind of really have a trusted foundation to build these AI models on. So if you kind of think about it, the fuel that really drives AI and all of these data models is data, and having the ability to have access to all of the data that can really drive that differentiation is going to be what sets apart the people that are successful and the companies that kind of fail. So a lot of things are getting commoditized, and it's not as simple as just throwing an LLM at every problem, right? It's really about fundamentally kind of understanding your business and the data that drives your business, and being able to kind of deliver that data at scale, but also in a way which is trusted, and that from a end kind of value perspective, that you can see that the AI is actually trustworthy. So it all kind of starts with trust, and how that can then be built into your AI models. So having said that, what we're kind of seeing is that this is a big challenge for organizations. They have a lot of legacy, and getting access to that data, being able to then build that truly trusted data foundation to then drive your analytics and AI is the challenge that organizations are grappling with. I was at the Gartner conference a couple of weeks ago, and it was highlighted actually that the top two challenges facing organizations is data governance and then data integration. So clearly that this is the area that there's going to be a huge amount of investment in. We all probably saw yesterday that there was the announcement of Informatica being acquired by Salesforce, and again, I think this speaks to the importance of data, but more importantly, how organizations can understand and govern and trust their data, and really kind of have access to that metadata that gives you the context around all of your data and how that can be used. So with that, this is where kind of Qlik comes in, and what I'm going to do is talk you through how we're doing things a little bit differently, and how Qlik's end-to-end platform provides a framework for you to start building that trusted data foundation, and then ultimately have that data available for AI-assisted analytics and automation to automate your business processes. Okay, so when we think about what makes up a trusted data foundation, what are the kind of key building blocks that organizations need to think about? So the first piece is around moving data, and as I mentioned, it's about moving all of your critical business data that's going to drive differentiation. So that means taking data out of operational systems, so things like SAP, mainframe, Oracle potentially, anything that runs your business. So that kind of core operational transactional data, being able to kind of stream in sensor data, unstructured data. So effectively bringing together all of that data, but being able to do that in a very efficient and scalable way. So this is where we support things like change data capture, which allows you to very efficiently move transactions in a near real-time fashion and deliver those into your chosen architecture. Streaming again is an area where we're going to see a huge amount of innovation as organizations want to be able to stream data and process that at the edge before kind of loading that into their platforms for further processing. So that flexibility is a key piece around that movement of data. We then kind of come on to how you need to then process that data or transform that data. And again here, what we're doing is offering organizations a huge amount of flexibility around that transformation layer. So whether that is transforming data in a more kind of traditional kind of ETL fashion, or whether that's kind of pushing that data into a data lake and being able to process that within your chosen data lake architecture. So that flexibility and being able to support different integration styles again is a key building block. And then I think we've probably kind of come on to the piece which I think is really where we still start building that trusted piece, right? The piece where we can start layering on data quality, being able to understand which data is feeding your data models and AI, having that trust through lineage and understanding of how that data is made up. So that's a key piece to all of this coming together as what a lot of organizations are building, and that is products, right? So taking much more of a product orientated approach to data, in the same way that we all go to supermarkets and buy products off the shelf. We trust that product because it's been packaged in a consumable way. You have a list of ingredients, so how that has been pulled together. You have provenance of where those ingredients have originated. So really, a data product, think of that in a very similar way. A product which is domain specific, that addresses potentially a specific use case that can then be used to feed your analytics and your AI, but having that provenance and governance and trust. Some of the kind of areas that we're really kind of investing in that I want to call out as far as a differentiation is actually around that kind of trusted piece, right? So we have this concept of a trust score, and that's now evolving into what we're calling a trust score for AI. data that is not stale is going to key to ensuring that your AI models are, accurate, that you're not getting hallucinations, etc. So all of this is kind of very, very important. There's some other areas that I'll kind of touch on later in the presentation, but the key thing here is to just look at having something which gives you that kind of end-to-end ability to ingest data, transform data, and then build that trusted foundation that can then be delivered within whichever target that is appropriate for the use case that you're trying to deliver. Okay, so if we then kind of dig a little bit into a data product, once you have delivered your data and you're able to kind of have that consumable. So think of a data product as something which is kind of managed or kind of built with collaboration between IT and business. So IT is giving you that data and building that pipeline to load the data product and have the data available. The business then provides the context around what that product relevance is to the data domain. So is it a customer product? Is it finance data? Is it HR data, etc. That data product then is the foundational piece that can then be used within your downstream analytics and AI. And again, this is where Qlik has got some unique differentiation in the market. So a lot of you will know Qlik more from an analytics perspective. Qlik has been in the market for over 30 years, started out as an innovator in visualization and dashboarding. But one of the key technologies that really set Qlik apart is Qlik's associative engine, which is its ability to be able to bring all of the data together as a set of almost think of it as a kind of a graph. So all of the data is associated based on relationship, rather than you having to run a specific SQL query to see an insight. So the key benefit to that is, as you can imagine, is when you're visualizing data, you can easily see the reverse of the query. So you can effectively see, I'm looking at all the products I've sold within a specific sales region. Can you now show me the products that weren't sold in this sales region? So you can see the reverse of something very, very quickly. So if you can imagine that is a very powerful way that from an end user perspective, you can start using that approach to leverage further AI as well. So from a Qlik Analytics perspective, we're heavily investing in the ability to apply both predictive and prescriptive analytics and machine learning to AI, integrating generative AI into this so that a lot of this can be now more human language orientated discovery and insights. And the key innovation here later this year will be the ability for us to bring together both structured and unstructured data together as a single unified experience, where organizations will be able to simply ask a question in human language and get self-service dashboards delivered directly to end business users. The last piece of this is around having those insights take automated action. And this is really where we start thinking about how AI is going to evolve more into this agentic experience, where you're able to not only look at insights from a kind of end user perspective, but then start having AI take automated action and have agents automate business processes. And ultimately, rebuild the concept of what an enterprise application is using AI. Okay. So just bringing all of this together then, so what we have is an end-to-end story. Now this is an open platform, so we have many customers that use elements of our platform, but the real value and what we're seeing in the market is to solve this very complex challenge that we're seeing, being able to accelerate organizations' ability to really deliver business value comes together when you're able to pull together an end-to-end story and an end-to-end pipeline to deliver value to the end user. Our platform is agnostic to the underlying data platform architecture. So as Qlik, we run on AWS, Azure, Snowflake, Databricks, etc. So we're agnostic to organizations' hyperscaler strategy. We accelerate the value that you can deliver on your chosen platform. I'm going to just flash up a blueprint to give you an idea of how this could potentially come together for you. You know, if we take an example, and one customer that I'm working with is a CPG client. They're a global brewery and beer manufacturer. And what they're doing is they're using our technology to source data from their kind of various ERP systems. They have over 35 different SAP systems around the world with their kind of core finance, manufacturing, supply chain data. So they're using our technology to move that data in a near real-time fashion into their chosen platform. In this case, they're using Snowflake on AWS. And what we're doing is, building that data lake on Snowflake to drive analytics and decision making. Now, what you can see here is that there's a lot of complexity within a kind of a pipeline. And when you start layering on AI, that becomes even more complex when you start thinking about not just structured data, but unstructured data as well. So the ability to be able to bring this together in a kind of unified architecture is pretty compelling. So this is an area where we would be very happy to obviously talk to you, how we can help you accelerate your journey to adopting kind of AI and AI assisted analytics. There's a few kind of roadmap items I wanted to kind of just share with you, which is kind of our focus this year. So we've delivered most of this this year. So there'll be kind of a release in Q2 this year. And then we've got a few roadmap items for the second half of this year. So the key piece here is around how we're assisting organizations with AI, both from the perspective of building more AI into the Qlik toolset. So think of this as having AI-assisted code generation of pipelines, the ability to automate data quality rules using AI and the like. So effectively using AI within Qlik products to provide increased productivity to our customers, and then also how organizations can build AI-based solutions using our toolset as well. So think of this as supporting retrieval augmented generation architecture. So if you're looking at building a generative application, we can help with moving data and transforming that data and vectorizing that data so that it can then be used within a generative application. The second piece is around support for open table formats. So there's a huge focus around all of the key players supporting Iceberg as an open table format. That's something that we are supporting and have a release later this quarter, where we'll be able to natively ingest and optimize data into iceberg table formats, which can then be consumed by different query engines. So that's a really exciting innovation that we'll be releasing this year. And then finally, the other piece is to really double down on the investments around data products, around the AI trust score, and the ability to be able to kind of govern your data for AI. I mentioned on the analytics the idea of bringing together structured and unstructured data. So the next version of our Qlik Answers product, which today gives you the ability to do natural language query of unstructured data, will converge and bring together both structured and unstructured data. So again, that is going to be a game changer as far as organizations being able to move beyond dashboards, the ability for end users to be able to ask human language questions and be able to kind of get self-service dashboards together with unstructured data in context of that query. That will be released kind of at Q4 this year. Okay, so just wrapping up then, what we've got here is a complete end-to-end platform that allows organizations to build that trusted AI foundation and then be able to really take action on that data and accelerate their ability to apply AI and deliver AI-assisted analytics to business use cases, built on a kind of completely open platform. This means that you can use this technology within your existing architecture and really leverage the investments that you've already made to move to kind of cloud-based platforms. Okay, so with that, what I'm going to do is I'm just going to hand over to Santosh. Exponentia are a great Qlik partner. They've worked with us for a number of years to deliver solutions for our clients. So I'm going to ask Santosh just to talk a little bit about how Exponentia have helped our joint clients.
Okay, thanks, Sunil. So I think before I answer that, there are a couple of points which I want to highlight, which is like Qlik Answers, where you see that structured and unstructured data will combine. You can do the analysis down the line. So that is something which every organization is like looking forward to. And also one more use case where you have mentioned that you guys were able to extract this data from the SAP and able to do the more or less real-time analytics. So I think that is one of the great thing, because most of the manufacturing and supply chain kind of organizations have their most trusted, reliable data in a SAP system. Correct. So I think that is a very key kind of a point. You can do real-time analytics on the trusted data. So that is definitely the thing which every organization want to do that. So now coming back to your answer, basically, see, Exponentia has been working with Qlik over the decade now, and we are basically the elite partners with Qlik, and we have just won the Challenge Growth Partner of the Year award, okay, for the APAC region. So we'll just see the deck and we'll see what kind of achievements we have achieved so far with the Qlik. So if you see that, there are 100 plus trained engineers, 13 plus data architects. So all these are, we are talking about certified guys, correct? And then we are winning the awards for last so many years for the Qlik events, correct? So which is happening globally. So that is something which is great achievement for us to associated with the Qlik for so many years and being recognized for our kind of delivery, correct? So now if you see that with Qlik technology, we have kind of more than 500 dashboards live running in organizations, more than 10 plus year of data being processed daily, 1,000 pipelines running, correct? So more or less $150 million value delivered, correct? So that is something a good numbers to remember, correct? And that is where we deliver the value to the customers, correct? So we can see that there are so many users are being used more than 10K, correct? So that is what I just mentioned over here. So it may be much more than that. So that is how we are working with Qlik, and it was nice to being associated with a company that is delivering a product with a new age kind of enhancement innovations coming in. So it's great to work with a Qlik. Uh, so Sunil, while you have done your presentation, so while coming to that kind of some of the points which I wanted to ask you, is that something? See what makes the Qlik data ingestion so scalable compared to traditional ETL tools, correct? So if that can be answered, so people will know that how it can be a differentiator.
Yeah, sure. So the key thing with our integration options is that we provide a lot of flexibility, and one of the kind of innovations that we have is the ability to ingest data using something called change data capture. So when it comes to those kind of transactional source systems like SAP, different ERP systems, typically those products run on a database, and those systems don't make it very easy to extract data easily. So with change data capture, what we're able to do is stream data using log-based CDC. So we're not actually querying the database to load the data in a normal kind of incremental or batch kind of ingestion mode. What we're doing is we're effectively taking every transaction as it is committed to the database using the transaction log and having that streamed in a near real-time fashion into a target like Snowflake or some other cloud target, for example. I mean, it could be on-prem, but typically most people are streaming data into a cloud platform. So that gives us that ability to move data at scale with minimal impact on the source system and do that in a near real-time fashion. The other kind of benefit of this is that when you think about the kind of data that AI needs, AI needs a very, very granular data. What you want is you don't necessarily want the data loaded once a day or once an hour. You want every change that's happened. So if you think about a sales order or, within a supply chain use case, each time there is an event, you actually want to capture that event. So change data capture gives you the ability to stream all of that event data as it's happening, and have that available within your chosen target environment. And obviously that granularity of changes, it greatly helps with the ability to kind of do your machine learning and training of your data models.
Okay, great. So with that, okay, so what another questions which comes into my mind is basically correct. So Qlik offers their own kind of AI ML kind of tool set, correct? But having said that, let us assume that organizations having their own existing AI ML tool sets, correct? So how with the Qlik we can integrate them, correct? So this will basically brings them a ease to integrating Qlik with their own ecosystem.
Yeah, absolutely. And the thing here is that we offer an open platform, so there's integration within the Qlik platform with lots of different types of AI models. So if we think about generative AI models, we integrate with all of the kind of different open generative AI models. So we're just essentially leveraging the models that are already out there. We can also integrate with machine learning models. So if you've developed your own machine learning models within SageMaker or Azure ML, Data Robot, etc., we can integrate with those models and bring those into our analytics as well. So we offer both the ability to kind of integrate with existing data models, but also we have our own machine learning capability, so Qlik Predict, and what that does is it provides a very easy way to what we call kind of automatically kind of define machine learning models using standard well-known modeling techniques. So the idea here is that if you've got existing dashboards, you can easily integrate predictive insights into your existing dashboards using things like Qlik Predict.
That's good to know. Good to know. So while you were presenting, correct, so there was a kind of, we see that it is kind of integrating with the newish technologies which are coming up, correct? So what is that open lakehouse architecture is?
So Open Lakehouse and the open table format is really, when we think about data within the cloud and cloud data warehouses or data lakes, today, when you adopt a platform like Snowflake, Databricks, or even something like Redshift, although you're able to scale the storage and the compute independently, the storage and the compute are still tightly coupled. So effectively, you have to load your data into Snowflake or Databricks or Azure Fabric or GCP, and then the compute sits on top of that storage, with those storage tables. And what we're seeing is that as the volume of data increases, organizations really want to optimize their ability to, leverage multiple compute platforms. So the ability to maybe use Snowflake and Databricks and GCP, maybe have a multi-cloud strategy. So what the Open Lake format allows you to do is within that kind of, multi-cloud, multi-query engine kind of ecosystem, have all of your data stored in an open format, which is in this case Iceberg, and then the query engines can come to that data. So you essentially have complete separation of your storage of where you're landing your data and storing it, and then how you're then processing that data and querying that data. So clearly this has huge cost implications around organizations being able to potentially reduce their costs by storing their data in low cost cloud storage, and then be able to leverage different query engines and optimize it based on different use cases.
Okay, that's great to know that Qlik is adopting this new technology. So as every organization is going towards cloud and all kind of data lake architecture, it's pretty much mandatory that we offer kind of this kind of solutions.
Yeah, and actually the optimization we can do around that Iceberg table format is also very innovative. So we made an acquisition earlier this year, a company called Upsolver in January, and that's really what we're going to be delivering later this year as an open table format. So we'll be able to effectively do low latency ingestion of data into Iceberg, have that optimized, so that both effectively reduces storage and query costs. So effectively, we're seeing organizations being able to get upwards of 50% savings on the cost of data stored in Iceberg, both from the perspective of optimizing it from a storage perspective, and more importantly, the cost of querying that data is also substantially less because of how that data has been optimized.
That's great. That's great. So Sunil, one more question basically before we just go for Q&A. So now we are kind of in a world of regulatory, correct? There is a GDPR, there are a lot many kind of regulations which are coming up, correct? So how Qlik can help organizations to comply to that kind of regulations? What kind of tool set it offers which allows organizations to comply?
Yeah, so we've got capability around being able to really start governing that data. So this is really where we start thinking about the concept of the data product that I mentioned. So and then being able to build out governance of that data product. So what's the data quality? What's the lineage? And ultimately think about, if we think about regulatory compliance, is being able to have a product where you can then trust that product that complies with all of the regulations that are mandated for that data set, that you have provenance of where that data has come from, so you have lineage, and ultimately that data product can then be marked as a trusted source that complies with various regulations. So this data set can only be used within this use case. For example, if you're doing some type of regulatory reporting, you could have a specific data product for that. You have ownership of that, data owners, stewards, etc. So it's really kind of building the whole process around that data product from a governance perspective. That's what we provide with our tooling.
Okay, that's great to know that how organization leverage this tool set to achieve compliance. So I think now we are kind of coming towards the end. So it is more of a Q&A sessions from the participants. If you have any questions, please ping us, please let us know what it is. We are happy to answer.
Not sure if I'm seeing any questions. Are there any questions?
Yeah, I can see that there is one question coming is what specific challenge have organizations face when integrating data from multiple sources and how does Qlik address this challenge? Sunil, if you can just.
Yes. So what we do when you're integrating data from multiple sources, it's the key thing here is being able to build out a data architecture, and that's kind of key to building that trusted data foundation. So what typically we've seen a lot of organizations do is follow things like a medallion architecture. So you have your bronze, silver, gold layers of data. So that first kind of ingestion piece where you're bringing data in, pretty much raw, and having that landed into your data lake as a bronze layer. You can obviously do a level of validation and standardization as part of that ingest process, but typically organizations are bringing that data in relatively raw in that bronze layer, so that it's effectively available for different use cases. So think of this as more your kind of traditional schema on read approach, and then you build out your silver layer where effectively you may be integrating those different sources together into a much more of a kind of conformed layer. And then finally, you have your gold layer, which is where typically I would say, that's your data product, right? So that's effectively, and again, there's flexibility within the architecture. So, overall, that's what we kind of see is that kind of typical kind of 3-layer architecture. But obviously, there's flexibility there to kind of adapt that based on different use cases and what works for your business.
Okay, so there is another question which is what is the best practice can organization adopt to ensure effective data governance while using Qlik Cloud?
Yeah, so from a data governance perspective, one of the key things that we've always promoted as Qlik is kind of this idea of a governed self-service. So being able to give businesses access to data, because really when you don't do that, you end up with people doing shadow IT, effectively using Excel and other things, right, to kind of get to the answer and achieve what they need to do. So the ability for you to be able to deliver a platform where really you can bring that data together in a way that organizations can trust that data, I think is really important from a self-service perspective. Because ultimately, if you're able to search for a data set and see that that data set is fit for purpose, that it meets all of the requirements that you need in order for you to do your kind of analytics and feed into your application, you're more likely to use that data set. So that's a key part of this. We've always kind of had this within Qlik, because you have this kind of concept of a data catalog, and obviously you can then search for data and see how that data is made up. That's now evolving into this kind of idea of more of a data product, and where that data product lives, within your data lake, within your kind of cloud platform.
Okay, so let's take one of the last questions. So there is one question from Kinu. Can you provide the specific examples of industry or use case where Qlik Cloud has significantly improved data-driven decision making?
Yeah, no, absolutely. So, I mean, we've got a lot of customers. I mean, Qlik has over kind of 40,000 customers globally. We've got some of the largest organizations in the Fortune 100 across different verticals, financial services. I focus mainly on manufacturing and CPG. So within my area, supply chain optimization is something which is key. It's a key differentiator, especially within the current climate. But one customer that's done something really innovative with being able to have real-time data and access to real-time data is Nike. So Nike use Qlik to be able to have supply chain data available within their delivery system. So if you imagine the use case where a customer is ordering some trainers, and they may have ordered 2 or 3 trainers because they're not quite sure which size they want. So typically, and this is quite common, right? So within kind of e-commerce and kind of delivery nowadays, generally people order quite a lot. They try it on at home, and then they send back the stuff they don't want. So within Nike, they found that from an inventory management perspective, this was a huge issue, right? Because effectively, people are sending stuff back, which then goes back to the central depot, and then has to then be redistributed. What they're now able to do, because they have access to real-time data within their supply chain processes and inventory management processes, is they can, in real time, when the customer prints the return label, they can send those trainers back or send them to a shop that requires that inventory. So rather than sending those trainers back to the central warehouse, and then from that warehouse they get sent to potentially a shop that needs that inventory, they're going directly from the end customer that's returning those trainers. So again, this is something that's been a game changer as far as optimizing their ability to manage inventory, reduce costs, optimize their supply chain.
That's good to know the real story of Nike. So I think as we are concluding today's session, I did like to express sincere gratitude to all of you who have participated in this webinar along with Sunil. So thank you guys for your participation, and we are looking forward to collaborating with you in this transformative journey. So looking forward to touch each base of you and see that how we can collaborate and achieve kind of a data excellence in your own organizations. So thank you guys. Thank you Sunil for participating.
Thank you, Santosh. A pleasure to be with you today. Thank you, everyone.
Thank you.